we are opening a democracy institute in Russia. So what about education? Who are you going to teach? What you're going to teach? Maybe a few words about educational process.
Well, we're in Moscow because we think of ourselves as a global institute that wants to be present in all great, interesting and powerful places on the planet. Therefore, we're in Moscow. Russia obviously is a superpower, and Moscow is an amazing, creative, powerful, potential, beautiful, creative, special city. That's why we're here. And we're here to learn. And we like to share the social technologies that we have, which we call process work. We like to develop training programs together with our Russian participants and students and learn more about the reality of Russia. You see, traveling is an amazing thing. If it was only about teaching, we actually would be happy to just stay put on our little place in the Oregon coast and teach there. But our interest is learning. We've always been very much interested in traveling and finding out about other cultures and countries. So for us, it's thrilling to be here. I have learned more in the last 3 days in these seminars about Russia than I have 10 years reading books about it.
Maybe you can say like something, like one word. What did you learn? What was the most learning experience for you in Russia?
I think that it's one thing to read or see in the art the emotional depth and the creativity of the Russian soul and the Russian people, and to experience that in an everyday person and everyday interaction and see that coming out like this. The heart and the brain, the connection, the combination of the heart and the brain and the creativity is just mind-blowing. The depth and the strength of the Russian land that carries so many contradictions and so many complexities and is able to hold them all and create a space in which they can like coexist and relate. I think it's just been amazing. The world needs to learn from that.
How you facilitated the whole seminar and the group process, but how do you actually learn to facilitate? How do you, become a facilitator? Is it difficult?
Oh my God. Should I say something about that?
You want to say about the learning path, and
Yeah.
then I'll say something about the structure, maybe?
That'd be great. Which should go first, do you think? The structure, the learning path?
The learning path, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, does it take 10 years to learn? Does it take like one seminar? What can you take out of one seminar? I mean,
I think there's different answers for me for that, because I feel it's a path and a practice. So for me personally, that's like maybe the equivalent of a meditation practice. Like maybe you don't ever get it, or you get it for a moment, but then it's gone again. And but it's an ongoing journey and an inspiration. And then, but along that path, there's things that you learn and grow. And so, so I think someone can come to one seminar and learn a couple of skills, or one skill, or a big feeling difference that's huge. And then you can learn maybe that deeper again and again and again. Or you can learn, there's many things to learn actually in terms of steps and theory and programmatic things, but then how do you actually do that in the midst of the dance? And well, how do you hear the music playing and learn to dance with it and be with the people all at the same time? So for me, it's a complex, impossible, and beautiful thing to try and learn it.
Yeah.
That probably didn't make a lot of sense, but
no, I mean, it did, yeah. And it's the same for conflict resolution also, right? Because it feels so. On one hand, it feels so difficult to learn because how you do it is just amazing, and then you give one exercise and you actually learn it right here, and then.
I guess that's the excitement
Yeah.
and the complexity of it for me, is there are actually steps that you can learn and things that you can focus on and practice, and it's based on your whole inner development and your relationship with the earth around you and everything, so they're all connected with each other. So it's a complex, that's how I would understand it.
So it's like you learn, but also develop yourself, and then learn again, and then develop yourself.
And they
then
all
practice.
go together, and they're all sort of one big fiesta.
Because some coaches came up to me and asked me, so when do we actually learn, the practice, the steps, and how do we become masters, and when will it happen? Like 3 years, 2 years? Tell us when the program ends and what we get out of the program. How do we, when we can use it as a profession. And like, I don't know what to say, because we can use it right now because there's an exercise, but also like as a profession,
I have a thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, those are various perspectives, and I love how you say that it reflects the various approaches to learning, and your own approach, which has been it's a more meditative approach. Well, first of all, like any new paradigm, when you meet it, it's complicated because you try to new paradigms. Most people approach new paradigms by trying to understand them in terms of the old paradigms, the concepts that they know. I have that inside of myself. I feel inside of myself I am constantly debating and learning and relearning. I'm like you. I get the process, and then I lose it again, and I get it again, because I'm in the middle of the change too. I'm changing with the world and the learning. Half of the time, the client's process is partially organizing our psychology. The moment we come in a group, the same principle that is organizing the group is organizing the facilitator. There's no such thing as a neutral facilitator. There's only an aware facilitator. As a facilitator of an individual or a group, you are being organized by the same principle that organizes the group and the people. So you have to sort of learn to facilitate yourself and to facilitate the client and the group at the same time. And I think that's a practice, an art, and a challenge. And I'm not sure if you ever can do that. You can try to do it, that's the fun part. But it's not like now I have reached master in that sense. Some people come and they learn a martial art because they want to learn some basic self-defense move. So they take a couple of classes, enough that they have a new self-confidence when they walk through the streets. If I'm getting into trouble, I can now defend myself a little bit. Yes? Some people come to 1 or 2 of our seminars, they learn 1 or 2 concepts, or they deal with a particular problem, and they write back to us it's been helpful. Some people take martial arts because they like the overall fitness program with it, and they like the contact, and they like the basic practice of it. So they learn a little bit, but it's sort of like more like a hobby. And they can use it because they feel better, they feel their health is better. So it's a lot of people come and study with us. They use some of it in their professional lives, and their professional lives do get better, their relationships get better, their conflicts work better, but they're not becoming professionals in that sense. Some people learn martial arts because they want to be martial art trainers themselves. And they want to know, okay, at what point do I get a blue belt and I can open my own school?
Right.
So we have training programs on our websites that explains those various approaches for different people. And then, of course, we have the Deep Democracy Diploma. That's for people for whom those issues are not really a question. They're like people that are looking for mastery. Now, mastery is not a state in my mind that you can attain. Mastery is a path. it's the hope that the ideas and the principles that you're practicing becomes your own way of living, and that you become like, that you see yourself as a lifelong learner. In my mind, a master is a lifelong learner. It's a woman or a man who understands that her path and her fate on this planet has a particular direction, and she's in her own way learning about it and wrestling with it and trying to make it useful to others. And in that attempt, constantly stumbles and learns. And over time, experiences these successes and failures as something more joyful. You no longer get overly depressed or overly depressed if something doesn't work, and you no longer get overly enjoyed if something does work, because you understand it's all part of a larger flow, and hoping to find more meaning, or the meaning in what you do. I have been an Arnold Mindell student for some 30 years, and I feel very lucky that I found a teacher with the heart and the mind like that. And for me, that path has been really working. And I enjoy people who say we want to learn process work and we want to make this part of a lifestyle. But I enjoy people as much who say, we just want to come because we have a problem in our company. We want to resolve it, and then please, I don't want to see you again the same way I don't want to see a dentist again. So there's many different ways to learn it, and each to his own. The learning path itself is part of a person's process. Some people, so instead of our own training programs actually are designed so that they support the various and different learning paths of different people, so that you don't have to adapt to the training program, but that the training program supports your own particular learning path, because everything else is too much work.
Широко разлилась река, широко разлилась река. Широко разбрелись луга, широко.